Welcome back to our spooky twofer. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always
Uh-huh.
is Moonpeer.
Hello. I mean,
How?
how?
How? That's right. We're here for 2002's
The
Dog Soldiers, Hoo and Bark. So we watched Ginger Snaps last episode in our kind of indie slash low budget werewolf flicks.
uh-huh.
So we're here in. This is the one that you have seen already, right?
Correct. This
Okay.
is one that I saw when I was very, very, very young.
Mm.
So probably around the time it came out would be my guess.
Okay.
Is when I saw it. Okay, so before we get into our usual breakdowns
Hmm.
of what you know, what you don't, I have to explain the intro.
Okay.
Specifically, there's a conversation going on at the start of this movie where they keep talking about a football match.
Okay.
Specifically, it's England versus Germany.
Hmm.
And for those of you who don't know your European rivalries, there might be a little bit of heated competition between England and Germany, one might say,
Mm.
for various reasons.
Sure.
Two main reasons.
Might want to look at like world history.
History. Yes. And there is so because of that rivalry, anytime Germany and England play each other in football, it is soccer. It is very, very heated, one might
Mm.
say.
Okay.
So there is a lot of complaining at the start of this movie that they're not getting to watch the footy match.
Mm.
Bad news for the boys. That specific match that they're talking about came out. This was playing when this came out in theaters, so it was timed really well
Oh
to
wow.
align with the game. England beat Germany like 5-0. It
Oh
was a great
jeez.
game.
Wow.
It-
All right. One for the ages.
yes, it was a fantastic game. It was glorious to watch and everything like that. But I figured I'd explain that joke to you specifically at the start
Right.
because it's a conversation that happens and you're probably not really going to understand it unless I explain it to you.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Thank you. Um,
But other than that, what do you know, Boston?
well, we actually talked about this on the Outcast here.
Yes, we did.
I think sometime in 2024, if I remember, about
It
like,
was.
hey guys, have you seen this ridiculous thing that I kind of love?
Mhm.
And as we
So
are, go ahead.
the reason it came up is because we covered a werewolf episode for Wayward Sons.
Right.
And I was talking with Nimp at the time about best werewolf kind of media, and this came up, and it's one of those things you forget about it, you don't think about it, and then you mention it in passing, and it sticks in your head forever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then Nimp, of course, seeing the trailer for it, then went and bought a Blu-ray copy of it, I believe,
Right.
and then it showed up, and then he showed it on the pre-show, and that's when we
Right.
started talking about it on the pre-show.
Right. And I think I watched a trailer for that, but I don't remember enough of it.
It's us.
Yeah,
We literally don't remember anything.
yeah, I've got 5,000 other things rocking around my brain. I do remember that
Uh-huh.
it's some sort of group of soldiers that are doing a training mission out in the middle of nowhere, and then blah, werewolf attack. Um,
Correct.
and
Mostly.
that's probably just the beginning and end of the plot of this film, if I was to guess. Um, but I'm kind of excited to see this one, especially coming off of the heels of our last movie. Um, I don't really watch a lot of spooky stuff or horror stuff in general, and I think I'm kind of excited to see what the other indie werewolf movie for this season is gonna be.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you don't know anybody or anything about making acting.
Nope. Nobody.
There's a couple of Brits in here who you will know
Okay.
from other things mostly.
A couple of it's that guys.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. A couple of those guys.
Hmm.
I should actually say one Brit, one Irishman, just to be safe.
Okay. Just to
And
be
cover my
specific.
bases. British and or Irish people in this movie that you may or may not know from other things,
Okay.
because they've been in other things.
Right.
and they're British and Irish, which means you've seen them in at least 2 or 3 massive things that have gone
And
on to make bajillions of
a
dollars.
British bad guy, and we need an Irish hacker that nobody understands. Bring these guys in.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Or, it's set in the olden times, which means you need people who sound like they speak with an English accent.
It's like any JRPG that came out after the year 2020. It was like, it's just a bunch of British dudes. All right, let's do it.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Let's get Ben Starr in here. He's great.
I don't know who that is.
It's the Final Fantasy 16 protagonist.
Okay.
He's great. You've seen him all over social media. He's really great. Yeah, I don't know what else to kind of mention here at the beginning other than I'm excited to go watch it. I'm excited for the more spooky season stuff.
I mean, yeah. That Ben Starr's got some eyes on him, let me tell you.
Mm-hmm. You should see his Tifa cosplay. It's great.
Even better, to be completely honest.
Really
it's even better. In the spirit of indie, this is written and directed by the same person too.
Okay, great. I love
it. His name is Neil Marshall. I'm looking to see if he's done other thing. Oh no.
Uh-oh. You have found it. You have found the other thing.
Hey Boston.
Uh-huh.
Directed by, as in he directed.
Okay.
The Descent.
Oh no. The horror one?
That one.
Oh,
the
boy.
English/Scottish one. He directed that one 3 years later.
Oh wow. Okay.
Now your stomach is a little bit queasy about what might be in it.
My eyebrows are furrowed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But for anyone listening who hasn't seen The Descent, 2005, watch nothing, see nothing,
Uh-huh.
go watch it, and then wonder how you can ever watch it again. Spoiler alert, I won't
No.
ever again.
No. Okay. So, it's got some chops.
Mm-hmm. Apparently.
Yep. Okay.
Yep. Didn't know it was the same guy. That probably explains why I like them both.
Yeah. All right. You got with that information on our
tone.
Yeah.
The tone immediately went from looking forward to this to
Oh no. You got any other stuff to talk about here?
Nope. I'm good.
All right. Well, let's go watch the movie.
Sure.
We are back. Oh woo! We're werewolves too. Shocker.
We returned.
Surprise. Yeah. We did mention last episode about are the werewolves are the werewolves going to look different between these two movies? Turns out, yeah.
Yes.
Sure did.
Very much so.
I like a lot of the werewolf design in this movie. They're very tall. They're very lanky. Not sure.
It is the traditional werewolf, not wolfware, that we talked about last episode.
That's right. I'm not entirely in love with how the face looks. It looks very canine, more than what I think we typically see, which is less distinctly dog. I mean, that's specifically what this movie's trying to do, is like, hey yo, this looks like a dog. Get it? Because of everything with dogs in this movie. It's like, yeah, I get. I'm picking it up. Sure. Yeah. The intro to this movie is interesting because it's very much like, oh, thanks for the silver letter opener, babe. Oh yeah, no problem.
Chekhov's letter opener.
And then it turns into the dude in the woods running away from who knows what. It's just the other military guys. Shoot this dog in the face. It's like, wait, hold on.
Yep.
Wait a tick. I'm not the biggest dog lover in on the planet, But
Hmm.
you probably shouldn't just shoot this dog in the face, man. What are you
Yeah, really no.
what are you
Not like
doing?
not in the slightest.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Uh, Nice to see that the bad guy in this movie is a
Is just all the way bad.
yeah, it's just like a consummate dog hater for the entire movie. It's just like, hey man, don't leave me alone with that dog.
Hmm.
I'm gonna shoot it in the face.
Yep.
Cool, cool.
I did some research on this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how much it costs to train a dog for military operations?
Oh no, probably a lot.
About 50K.
Wow.
So
Okay.
he just shot a 50K asset for no reason at
Yeah.
all.
He's a loose cannon. Can't be controlled.
Mhm.
I get the job done.
Quite literally.
You don't want me to
Hmm.
badge my take my badge and my gun. Um.
This, I will say though, I love the soldier camaraderie in this movie. I'm not a
Yeah.
big rah-rah military kind of person.
No.
We've talked
Ditto.
about this with Top Gun and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the soldier to soldier
Mm-hmm.
relationships that they show in this movie, like when it's brothers in the field kind of thing. When it is a band of brothers, one might say.
Heyo. It
Um,
feels the actors do such a good job making it feel natural.
yes.
No.
And Liam Cunningham, who plays Ryan, who is the leader of the Special Forces,
Mm-hmm.
he gives off Special Forces vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you ever like go and listen to like interviews with like top soldiers from around the world, 90% of them are gonna say, you know who the real beasts are? It's the British Special Forces.
Oh really?
They're monsters.
Oh
We
boy.
don't know how they do it, but they're monsters.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Liam Cunningham as Ryan gives off that vibe here, where it's just like, yeah, we get the job done.
All
We
right.
don't care what it is. We do the job.
I don't care how many dogs I need to shoot in the face. I'm going to get this job done.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But he has a salient point. It's like,
mhm.
look, you're trying to escape. The thing to do is not to run and hide, to eliminate the method that which we find you,
Right,
the dog.
right,
He didn't have to, then kill the dog.
right.
He just had to make that point. And I like the fact that he's like, yeah, congratulations, top of the class, 22 hours and 34 minutes.
Mhm.
Good job. And then immediately it's flunked out. Get back to your unit. Bye-bye.
Right. We only want a precision team of dog killers here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's so interesting seeing the stark difference between that team and then the team of soldiers you're with for the rest of the movie. Of them just being like, all right, we're out here. God, this whole thing sucks. The
It's
biggest
just a bunch of lads banter.
yeah, and like the biggest football match in the history of the world.
Oh, I knew I forgot to do something. I
Mm.
meant to send you a link to the YouTube highlights for that match.
Oh, okay. But like the biggest football match in the history of the world is going on. If not now, then shortly. What are we doing out here? Like I
Uh-huh.
love that all of them, even the captain is frustrated about it because he's like, even the captain's like, all right, let's just come on, we just got to get it done, and then go home and watch the
Yep.
footy. It's like, all right, it's
Uh-huh.
it's that big.
Get a
at
cup and
this
watch the
point.
footy.
Yeah, like it's really good that even he is like, I need to go. We all have to go see this thing. Come on, it's the biggest game.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I like that it keeps coming up the whole movie of just like he didn't even get to see the game. The werewolves got him.
Yep.
He's missing.
Yep.
He's missing the footy. It's just like, yeah, okay.
Do you like football, Ryan? Not particularly. Well, he did, and he didn't even get to see it because of you.
It's so good. Oh
It's
man.
so much English slang as well in this movie. Like,
Oh,
so
it's-
much English slang.
And I really, part of what I like about this movie is how English it is. It's not like there's no like subtitles on the screen of like this means soccer in the US. Like this game was very important because it doesn't have like the anime subtitles of like Keikaku means plan.
Shinigami
You know, it
is
doesn't,
a death god.
yeah, like it doesn't do any of that. It's just like, hey man, keep up. If you don't know any of the slang, you could probably figure it out with by context.
It is unapologetically British, I think,
It's-
is how we can say it.
It's really great. I really appreciate, and I feel like that's really important for this movie because so much of this movie is you're training in this remote place and you're in this house. There's literally no one around. Of course this place doesn't have a phone. They don't need it. No one is around. No one is going to be here. You're in the middle of nowhere. And I think that really works well for this movie because it's not just like, oh, my phone is dead. It's like, I don't have that. This is a shack
Don't have a
in the
cell
middle of the
phone, no
woods.
nothing.
Yeah.
We got guns that fire blanks, which I don't know if that yellow piece on the end is ever a thing used in American training, but I saw that all the time when I was a kid. The
Oh,
yellow
really?
attachment on the bottom of the barrel, that's showing that it's firing blanks, essentially.
I think in the U.S., I think as time goes on, I think you see more like orange on the muzzle, but I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure. You know, America and its guns. Who knows?
Yep.
Yeah, um,
Uh-huh.
but
I, I
Good.
I do really appreciate the fireside circle. Like, okay, number one, you guys are lighting a fire in the middle of the forest when you're supposed to be on a stealth mission. Like,
Right.
come on, like no, bury that fire. Like, get a pit, put the fire in the pit, and
Right.
then do it that way.
No one said they're
But
that
okay,
good.
no, but what's his face? Cooper should know better.
Right.
The main guy, Cooper should know better.
Right.
Did you recognize anybody, by the way, before we get too much into this?
Sure did. I
Thing?
recognized Sean Pertwee,
Uh-huh.
who's the third Doctor.
Wait, was he?
Yeah, he's the third Doctor Who.
No.
Yeah.
Was he? Was he?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Unless everything on the internet is leading me astray, which is possible in the wonderful AI nightmare that we live in right now.
I didn't think he was, because I'm pretty sure he's a northerner, and there was a big deal of 12 being the first northerner.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, Sean Pertwee, yes, he's also in pretty much anything that requires a British person.
Yes.
He's the fun detective in the Elementary show, the American Sherlock show that has the other guy and Lucy Liu in. He's in that, and he's absolutely incredible in that too. He's the father in Equilibrium, for those of you who don't remember that too.
Mm.
Gareth Lestrade is who he is in Elementary. That's the one I was looking for.
I was looking up on his IMDb page for this, and you're right. There must be another John. Okay, his father was the third Doctor.
Okay.
Got it.
There we go.
His trademark under IMDb: raspy British accent. I mean, you're not
he's
wrong.
got it. He nails it, you know.
Yeah, I really liked both him, the guy that eventually takes over for him as kind of the leader. It was Cooper.
Kevin McKidd is Cooper.
Yeah, Cooper, and then Ryan, of course, the guy that plays him.
Fantastic.
As he's just
so this is the part where when we were recording part one, I was like, yeah, it's a bunch of British people, and then I corrected myself and said a bunch of British and Irish people.
right.
Liam Cunningham is Irish, and I didn't
Right.
want to do that mistake as a British person.
That's true. Fair point.
And for those of you who don't know who Liam Cunningham is, he's the Onion Knight from Game of Thrones. He's heavily in that show. And he's fantastic in that show too, if I'm completely honest. The guy's absolutely an incredible performer, and he brings it here too, I will say.
I also like the Emma Cleesby, who plays Megan. I thought her performance was real. I don't think I've seen her in anything.
I have not,
but I thought she was really, really good. I think she sells her thing the entire movie in a way that I didn't see the twist coming at the end, and when it happened, I was like, oh, gasp.
Yes.
Betrayal.
And my favorite delivery on that too is the whole "I don't want to be part of this family," which makes you think that maybe she wasn't part of the family and was adopted into the family, with air quotes for those listening to the audio version.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's great.
Yeah, the we'll talk about the twisty sort of thing later, but I really like the initial
The
sort of
campfire story thing
yeah
is the thing I was going to talk about, because it's like it's so excellently done. It's just a bunch of dudes
yeah
sitting around a campfire talking about stuff,
dudes being bros.
talking about their worst fears,
Mm-hmm.
which minor Shaun of the Dead moment here. They predict how every single one of them is going to die, by the by,
Right.
just so you know, if you
Right.
go back and watch that scene.
Yep.
Um, but Wells is H.G. Wells, by the way, is his full name, Sergeant H.G. Wells,
It's pretty
just
good.
so you know.
Mm-hmm. A
Sean
much
Pertwee does
a much more referential movie than I was expecting.
so referential, dude.
Yeah, the
Um,
spoon death scene where they
yes.
drop that line is that got a
Uh-huh.
groan out of me. Where I'm like, all right, okay, you earned that one, but let's pump the brakes.
They don't push it too far.
Right.
I think they tread the line pretty nicely.
Yeah.
But like Pertwee's delivery on the Eddie story
Mm-hmm.
is absolutely devastatingly delivered. Like
Yep.
him talking about being in, I think it's Iraq he was deployed to,
I think so. Yeah.
and he just describes the aftermath of like an anti-tank mine as a big red circle,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like, thanks for the simple but disgusting
That's right.
visualization in my head. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Did the cow give you a jump scare?
There wasn't too much in this movie that did give me a jump scare, but that one did because that was completely unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially, just a cow falling
Mm-hmm.
from the sky.
That was that was like I love the ridiculousness of that because it just number one, a cow falls out of the sky, but number two, everybody's like, well, what could have done this? What could have possibly? And they all sort of look at it and they sort of inspect it long enough to be like, oh no, whatever did do this, we sort of need to get out of here. Like they don't even care what caused this. They're just like, whatever did this is probably really big and really strong, so we should probably just beat feet
We
and
need to go.
leave.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Go.
And I really like this first kind of, attack from the werewolves where they're everywhere and everyone is just getting ripped apart. And then one dude just
Are you talking about the one after they get to the Special Forces camp, where they're trying to run away through the forest?
Mhm.
So they run across the Special Forces camp and they trade up their blanks firing guns
Yep.
for real guns,
Yep.
which I really appreciate. It's like, yep, get rid of your guns. Like I like how they all keep hold of both sets of guns
Yeah.
until the Sarge says, get rid of the blanks. Like let's get rid of those ones.
Yeah.
We don't need them anymore. Change out. Something else is going on here, and of course, Captain Ryan is still ahead. Is still
Mhm.
alive, because why wouldn't he be in the gore-filled Special Forces base? Which, yeah, it's a bit red, one might say.
I also like that the only thing he's really able to say is there was only supposed to be one, and
It's such a good line.
the dread at that moment is like, oh no, whatever it is, it is going to be pretty bad. I appreciated that a lot of that line
Mhm.
just being, and at no point does this movie ever really go out of its way to super explain everything. It's just going to show you,
No.
hey man, it's werewolves, and there's a ton of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's about 7 of them, roughly, to
Yeah.
be, if the photo's anything to go by.
Right.
But like, I love the fact that it's like, they all basically they patch up him, and they're like, okay, we need to get to the tree line, let's go, and then they start working towards the trees. And I think this is the sequence you were talking about,
Yep.
with the first like chase down of the soldiers.
Mhm.
And it's like the one dude is like, okay, I need a volunteer to be backmarker. It's like,
Mhm. That
you
sucks.
did. Whoever you are, you're dead.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, but that's the simple truth.
Yeah. I think this is also where someone impales himself on a tree.
It's the backmarker.
Yeah. That That
is
sucks.
Bruce, I think, is the back
I
marker.
think so, yeah. That sucks.
Yeah, he's so full of fear that he runs himself into a tree, which is just,
Yeah. It's a it's
how
a
quick do you have to be running to do that?
it's like it's one of those things that I haven't really seen in movies before. And I was like, that's pretty brutal, man. Like,
Mm-hmm.
definitely
I
not the
think it's
worst way to
wolfed
go.
immediately afterwards.
I think so, yeah. Um, and I like that.
In this sequence as well, though, we do get the shadows and silhouettes in the trees of the wolves, and that's when you find out which type we're dealing with. The
Yeah,
tall ones.
yeah, because it's very clear you're dealing with the fast werewolves here, not the like lupine form kind of running around on four legs kind. Um, I
Yep.
I like this scene a whole lot. It's that thing you sort of want at the beginning of werewolf movies, and try and string it along as you can. Of just we're not seeing them. It's just flashes of
You
somebody
see like
getting
a hand every now and again.
yeah, and like a shadow flashes by and somebody's just guts are spilling out or someone's throat gets cut and it's just you don't know where anyone is. Everyone's just firing and everyone's telling them not to. And I thought this was pretty great until we get to the end where they're like, it would just he's like, my guts are out. It's like, just put them back in. It'll be fine. Just shove it
Yep.
back in there.
My, I love Sean Pertwee's like acting anytime he's doing anything to do with being injured.
Yeah.
It's so good. He's like, well, my guts are out, so I'm not really doing that great. And he's like, don't worry, we'll put them back in.
Yeah. I like that he's
It's
like,
how are you gonna do that?
I don't think they'll fit. It's just like
Of course they will.
they came out of you. It'll be fine. It's so good.
Uh-huh.
And I like. It's really interesting because they get saved by Megan in her van, and all of them are smart enough to be like, I don't care what is going on right now. Get in this van, and we're going wherever. Wherever we're
Yeah.
gonna go is away from whatever's killing us. Let's get out of here.
And I don't know if you noticed, but Cooper is also smart enough to stay calm. He's in the passenger seat, and he's the one who's saying, stick it in reverse very calmly. Now stick it in forward.
Oh, yeah, 'cause
very
they get
calmly.
stuck.
Now
Yeah,
stick it
yeah.
in reverse very calmly. And he's basically explaining do the rock out thing.
Yeah.
As somebody who currently lives in places where there is a lot of snow sometimes,
Yep.
this is a very handy piece of advice.
Yeah.
Do the rock. Gently out, gently forward, gently out, gently forwards, and that's how
Right.
you get out of a bog down like that.
Yeah.
But they stabbed the werewolf through the arm as well, through the roof,
Yep.
stabbed through the arm completely. Just gross. Everything is terrible.
There's a lot of really good, like, practical prosthetic effects with them stabbing the werewolf or getting grabbed by a werewolf or something like that. There's way more in this movie than I was expecting for something that is lower
Super
budget.
low budget.
Because the budget here says only £2.3 million.
2.5, something like that. Yeah.
So like that's, I mean,
It's nothing.
like 2 locations and a bunch of big werewolf suits probably, but
The directors actually basically come out and said like 2.5 million back then was considered low budget. These days, not so much, because these days you can film digital.
right.
You can do a lot of stuff that way. Whereas back then, you're still talking about big rigs to do camera. You're talking about film. You're talking about all that expenses. So
Right.
yeah, 2.3 is still really cheap.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look cheap, I will say.
And I think they use the kind of farmhouse that they're in for the rest of the movie really, really well, because they are in every single part of that house multiple times. They're shooting from as many locations as they can. They're obviously trapped there, but they use the confines
They give a
of
good
the
sense
building.
of space.
Yeah, and it's also they're on top of each other, which is just ratcheting up the tension throughout the rest of the movie. Of just like, I can't get away from this Ryan dude. He's just sitting next to the fire, crap talking us for the entire rest of the movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's an empty farmhouse that they find where dinner is being cooked.
Yes. Yeah, it looks like they got out of there real quick. A wink.
Yep. So,
Yeah.
let's talk about the two really good little hints here
Mm-hmm.
in the farmhouse specifically,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a dog in the farmhouse too. Whatever.
Right.
The dog is locked up
Mm-hmm.
in a closet, which is a really smart thing because it is affected by the werewolves, despite the fact that it lives with the werewolves and they know each other.
Right.
The food tastes like pork. One of them says the food tastes like pork,
Right.
which is a very nice little, if you've played the Walking Dead games, if you've had anything to do with cannibalism stories,
Right.
that is a very strong hint that that's people in that dish.
It's not a pig. Let's just put it that way.
No, it's long pig, I believe, is the terminology used for
That's
it.
right. That's right.
And then the second one is the dog attacks the Sarge's bandages,
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that.
which means the dog is used to the taste of people.
Right. Yeah. That's interesting.
That's two small little things which are a little bit telling of what might be going on at this situation.
Right. I'm not sure
The
how
wolves
much.
destroyed the Jeep.
Yeah, like I'm not sure how much we break down the rest of this movie because the majority of it is just we are trapped in this house. We're trying to take down these werewolves. It's not happening, and we're trying to find multiple ways of escaping.
Yeah, I think we only really need to talk about like moments that we like. I like the super glue scene.
Yeah.
The super glue scene is a pretty great scene because the Sarges really hurt and they basically try and use super glue to basically patch them back up essentially.
Yep.
Because as Cooper says, you ever notice how the best thing that super glue fastens together is your fingers to each other?
That's right.
That's because that's its job.
Yep.
Essentially. And they get him hammered on painkillers and looks like whiskey of some kind.
Something like that. Yeah.
Sean Pertwee may have had a few drinks before performing this scene. That is how he is so believably drunk.
It's very accurate. Yeah.
Yes. And the fact that he's like, look, like he's wriggling and he's straining and he's doing everything else and they can't patch him up because he's awake. And he bounces up and he's like, hit me, Cooper, knock me out. You've got to knock me out because it's the only way we're going to get things done. And he hits him. He hits the bed and then he immediately sits back up and it's like, you call that a punch, you blah blah
Right.
expletive here.
The, like,
and he punches him again.
The like bounce off of the bed is so funny because it's just Cooper hits him really hard and it's just boing, comes back up. It's like, you call that a hit? He hits him again and just cold out. It's like, I like that both he and Megan are like, all right, right to work. Like just we're not even a comment about what just happened. Let's get back to work. Yeah. That was
so good.
That was really good. I really like the end of the scene where they hotwire the Jeep in the barn that's right next to the house, and then backs it all the way up to the house, and then there's that shot from the side where you see the like the mist, the breath coming up from behind him, and you notice it just a couple seconds before he says, "You're right behind me, aren't you?"
You're right behind me, aren't you?
And I was just like, "Oh, that's so good," because like he knows they're there, and he's gonna go out with a fight, which lasts like maybe all of 3 seconds.
Yeah.
But I really liked that kind of. The werewolves aren't always right there and busting in and like moving fast and moving loud. Half of the time, they're trying to open the doors of the house. They're trying to maneuver as quietly as they can. They're trying to get in there without just Resident Evil 1 leaping through the windows and calling it a day.
I mean, Megan says it as well. She says, look, they're out there. They're working. They're doing exactly what you would do. They're
Right.
working as a team, trying to find a solution to the problem.
Right.
Because you get the double doorway thing where one is making loud noises at the doorway so the other one can try and
Yeah, very quietly try and open the open the
Yes.
door. Yeah, that was a great scene because, especially because they're on opposite sides of the house. Like it's that thing
Uh-huh.
where they're using the house and the layout of the house and the small size of it so well. Because in most movies, it'd be like, oh, they successfully broke in because the back door was 4 rooms away. It's like, no, you can reach out and touch both of these. So which way do you point your gun?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I like the fact that like they slowly piece together, or Cooper slowly pieces together like the what's happened here,
Mm-hmm.
because like the training exercise was against special forces. He frequently points out that Ryan doesn't have an insignia, doesn't have a badge, doesn't have a
Right.
rank. He's not showing anything at all that would designate him part of the military,
Right.
which means it's probably a black ops situation.
Mm-hmm.
He's only called captain. Not he's probably actually higher than a captain, but he's called captain
Right.
because that's to show who's in charge, kind of thing. And he's like, "Look, what exactly went on here?" And Ryan eventually comes out with it after a long time of like, "Yeah, I provided a hole in the defenses. You found it.
Right.
You're only here because I remembered you,
Right. And you're
and you're
expendable.
bait."
Right. And
Uh-huh.
I
And
like
it's
that.
just like, okay, so you set this up so that they would find your hole, go through the hole, activate the werewolves essentially,
Right.
and then that is how he would find the werewolf, the one he was expecting to find,
Right.
and capture it.
Right. Because I like his thing of like, you know how we train dolphins to put explosives on underwater mines? This is like that, except it's a werewolf, and we would like to have that for don't worry about it. But
Science.
yeah, there was only
War
supposed to be
science, but
one.
science.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I thought that stuff was really great.
I like the slow reveal of him healing. Like he's
Yes.
slowly but surely getting better and better and better.
Which
And he hides it the entire time.
he really does. And I
Um,
like that gets paid off too when
The Sarge
yeah,
Wells
Sarge like
has
pulls
it,
up
and
his
he's like,
shirt.
"Look, this is great. I'm feeling fantastic, and I'm not supposed to.
Right.
That's a problem."
Don't you think that might be an issue? Like I really like to in that scene because he was sick for so long, and I think that was just after Ryan had transformed that his makeup has largely been removed, so he doesn't have that kind of like sickly pallor to him. He looked kind of like white yellow, that real almost jaundiced kind of look to him. And when he brings that up, I'm like, oh man, he does look really good. This is
Yeah,
his guts were on the forest floor an hour ago. This is real not
Yep.
good. I do like the Ryan transformation scene though, because like it starts with his eyes and
and his hands.
and his hands and his teeth, and he kind of I love when movies still do this where like someone falls behind a couch or they escape behind a tree or something. Like he fell behind the table so he gets out of sight, and then when he stands up
Yeah.
he's the full werewolf.
Hmm.
And
Which the director cast dancers to be the werewolves, by the way,
that's really smart.
because they were all wearing stilts to give them the extra height.
Right.
So he cast dancers for the more elegant movement aspect of it.
And they're like a couple feet taller than everybody
Mhm.
else. They're probably
They
like
have to
8
crouch
feet
through
tall.
every single doorway.
Yeah, it's really very cool looking. And I like that fight scene with Ryan because they're on the back foot the entire time because they're not expecting a werewolf to be inside the house with them. And I like that they're just using whatever they can in the house to try and take him down.
Including a sword in very Scottish tradition.
Yeah, including a sword. I do.
But
Go ahead.
so Megan gives them a plan essentially, which is they're all in the shed. That's where they're going to be. They're going to be somewhere
This is
warm,
what I was going to talk about
close
too.
by, familiar.
And somewhere
And
like
the thing-
warm where they can hang out. Wink.
Yeah, and so I like this because this is the moment where she turns. It's
Right.
after Ryan reveals what the whole plan was. This is the moment where she flips sides. She
Right.
was on their side. I honestly believe she was on their side
I do too.
the entirety of the movie until Ryan reveals that the plan was we're going to capture one and we're going to use it to create warfare with
Right.
it.
And at that
And I
moment,
think
she's
when
like, "We can't. This can't happen."
There's no escape. Even
Yeah.
if I escape, now they know who I am.
Right.
They know who we are.
They know
so
we exist.
we can't stop being werewolves. So at that point, screw it. I'm going to flip sides and I'm going to go back with
Exactly.
the quote unquote family side of things.
Right.
So she gets them to use their only method of escape to
Mhm.
blow up the shed where there's no werewolves inside of the shed.
Right.
And this is where Coop puts it all together. Like, Cooper puts it all together, and he's
Mhm.
like, there was no werewolves in the shed, was there?
Right.
It's like, no.
And the moment too, he says like, "There's no other house across
Within
the
50
glen."
miles.
Yeah, and she's like, "No."
No. And
It's
he's like, and you're not in the photo because you're the one who took it.
Right.
That's a great moment. And
Mhm.
she's like, yep. And then she's got the head down, and as she looks up, the silhouettes come up behind her as she says,
Such a good shot.
they were already here. I just unlocked the door.
Oh,
And they rise up behind her.
so good. She's like, yeah, it's just like unlock the back door or something. It's just like that shot with the three silhouettes behind her is just like, and her thing too of like, look, I hate this family, but we're a pack.
Yep.
Sorry, man. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, and I like that too. Cooper learning from the mistake of Ryan turning, he just shoots her in the head immediately. He's like, okay, cool. Blah. Like, I'm not even, we're not going to have one more werewolf here. I'm just taking care of the problem.
It just doesn't work.
Right.
She's one of them.
She's like a little too far gone at that point to have it affect her.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, now the werewolves are inside, and we get the separate fight / standoffs moments.
Mm-hmm.
Spoon boxes a werewolf.
Oh, it's so good. Him just going toe to toe and punching a werewolf in the snout is so. And it's not like one or two, and then the werewolf kills him.
He's a trained boxer as well. Like, that actor is actually a trained
Right.
boxer, so he actually does perform it really well.
Yeah, he gets a
It's
lot of good hits. Yeah.
I hope I give you, to use the PG terminology here, I hope I give you the runs is a very good line to go out on.
It's really good. If you're gonna get killed by something in a horror movie, you have to have a cool line, and that was a pretty good line. I do like Cooper and the Sarge kind of barreling through,
Busting their way through the house.
Yeah, like
and, like walls and
Yeah,
floors
like-
and everything else.
yeah, like open your mouth, cover your ears, watch your toes, and he shoots out the bottom of that armoire and kind of.
Do you know why he says open your mouth?
It's a percussion, I was assuming.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. You can pop your eardrums. That's why most explosions you have to open your mouth if
Yeah.
you're nearby an explosion, because it will literally destroy your eardrums. It's a
Yeah.
very nice little throwaway line that actually means a lot.
Right. And I like that Sarge eventually, because he's like, hey man, I need you. I don't want to be a werewolf. I don't want to be part of this pack. This needs to be the end for me. And Cooper's like, nah man, I'm not doing that. What the heck? Come on. And Sarge's like, all right, well, I'll take care of it. Don't worry. And while he's struggling not to transform, he blows the entire house up, which is
Yeah, he does the old cut the gas line. He's
Yep.
smart because he doesn't turn the gas line on.
right.
He doesn't turn the oven on. He pulls the gas line out and then just chops it straight in half.
Yeah.
And you get the cliche of him holding up the lighter gets knocked away. He's like, I'm sitting right next to the oven, bro, and then hits the ignition
Yeah, I'm
switch.
just gonna turn it on, man. Yeah. I do like the fight scene against Ryan Wolf in the basement.
In the basement, yes.
Probably one of
the meat closet.
Yeah, and like probably one of my most favorite / least favorite sound effects in cinema I've ever seen, with the sword going through Cooper's teeth.
No, don't. Why did you bring that up? I forgot about that.
It's so, like, if they would have only done it for a second, it would have been okay, but the extended scraping, I was just like, oh, it's so good. Oh, stop it, please. It's so good and the worst at the same time. And then, of course, the dog distracts him and gets to kill Ryan. And I forgot that at some point Megan takes a bunch of pictures of the werewolves because she's trying to
She's
startle
using
them.
the flash to put them off.
Yeah, and those are the pictures that are in the newspaper at the end of the movie,
Yes.
which I thought was
Because
really
the Sarge has the film and gives it to Cooper and says, "Hey, maybe go show what happened here,
right.
please."
Yeah, I like that he and the dog are just like, all right, it's sunrise. Let's get the hell out of here, man.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And it cuts to the newspaper articles showing like the werewolves and everything else. That's how we get the photos.
Yep. The final score of
And
the
it's
match.
5-1 England.
Yep.
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 I'll send you a link to that after
Okay.
the show.
Yeah, I'd like to watch that. What did you think of?
I know why I remember that match so well though.
Mm.
Because every single player who scored for England was a Liverpool player.
Oh, nice.
Like
That's great.
every single one. That's why I remember it so well. Also, it was 5-1 against Germany, which is very important at the time.
Right.
I still love this movie, dude. Like it is a quintessential B movie.
Absolutely.
It's got stupid jokes, like you said. There is no spoon is
It's one
a
of the
really dumb line.
yeah, one of the weirdest things to reference.
But like it's cheesy, it's funny, it's really low budget. It's got the appropriate levels of gore in many different things. Again, I forget about the teeth and the sword moment, but that is one of the no.
It's intense, man. Yeah, I had a lot of fun watching this movie. You're right. I think it's one of those perfect B movies of they had almost no budget, they had maybe 2 places to shoot, and they're going to use the hell out of as much as they possibly had. And I think that every person in this movie acts the hell out of their role. And I think if any one of these people had not done as great of a job, I think the whole thing might have kind of fallen apart. But so much of it works because of every single person just killing it in each one of these roles. It's so good.
Yeah.
This would be a movie where I'm like, look, if you're looking for something fun to watch during Halloween, you should watch Dog Soldiers. This is an incredible, absolute recommendation for this movie. It's so good.
He's good. He's great. Like the everyone in this is fantastic, and they act like they're getting paid millions for it, and they're not.
Right. Let's do ratings here real quick. Dog Soldiers 6.8 out of 10 on IMDb. Rotten Tomatoes 82% on the tomato meter, 79% on the popcorn meter, and 3.4 out of 5 on Letterboxd. I think I'm probably there, like 3.5 out of 5, but 4 if I'm kind of in the mood for something fun and campy and werewolfy. But yeah, this movie is great. I really had a lot of fun watching both of these movies, which I think is kind of the thing you want for these kind of lower budget horror films. Like, I want to have fun with them. I want to have a good time watching these, and I did have a really great time watching both of them.
Yeah, and like to be honest, it's one of those things where like after learning who the director was for this, Neil Marshall, and it's like, oh, okay, he did Dog Soldiers. What else did he do? And then we realized it was The Descent was his next movie after this. It's like maybe I should probably keep a better eye on like B directors,
right,
and like see what they do, you know, time and time again. Because I like Dog Soldiers. I think Dog Soldiers is a fantastic movie. The Descent is one of the most terrifying movies I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
And like, I don't know what else he's done other than that, but for even just watching those two from a director's oeuvre is like, yeah,
he also did
that's a big thing.
The 2019 Hellboy as well. So, that
was the Marshall one, right? David Marshall or whatever it is.
Yeah, what was his name? Uh, David Harbour.
There we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, I should probably keep an eye out on this more often. Like,
Yeah.
I want to go back and find out who directed the sections of the VHS thing,
Oh,
and
yeah.
go see what else those directors have done.
Yeah, whatever other terrifying nightmares have they put on film?
Yeah, I mean, I know James Wan is famous for his Fast and the Furious movies now, but
Right.
that's a dude who made his name in horror. Like,
Right. That's true. All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for listening. We will have a considerably different season coming up next. I say that hopefully. Reminder: if you want to listen to the production meeting that comes out between these seasons, you get that over at patreon.com/E1M1.
the ones and numbers.
The $5 tier or higher, it's exclusive. Like we talk about, it's the kind of behind the scenes making these shows. It's some of my favorite stuff that we put out. I think it's really cool. We have production meetings like this for all of the shows pretty frequently, but this is the only one we kind of put down on tape as it is, and I think they turn out really well each and every time. These are cool ones if you want to see how we make the eventual 5 left turns to get to the season we eventually record and put in the can. I think that's really interesting. So go check that out there. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.